Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the Creepy 100 podcast. I am Mark, I am your host today, and I am here with Kinson.
What's going on, guys?
Jeanette is not in studio today, which is unfortunate, but we will continue on without her. And I just wanted to say thank you all so much for listening. It really, truly does mean the world to us. Our producer told us today that we are in the top 100 this week, TV and film podcasts. So that means the world to us. If you would just keep on listening, even suggest things in the future episodes, we would love to kind of hear what you guys think, what you want to hear, anything to really spice up the show. So please leave a comment either, under Spotify, Apple, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Any way you can contact us, please, I encourage you to do so.
That's right, guys. Listen, 91, my boy. That's 8 people underneath us. That's 9 people underneath us. Do they go to 99 or they go to 100?
They go to 100. We're 91.
Yeah, we're 91. 91 place, man. Listen, 92 through 100. Y'all put up a good fight, man. I swear, y'all put up a good fight. But we're just different, bro. We're just built different. And you know what, guys?
We got Zicam in our noses.
We got Zicam. Listen, I got about 1,000 milligrams of Zicam up my nostrils right now. 500 on the left, 500 on the right. And I'm feeling crazy this episode. It's going to be a good one, guys. And
this episode, we're stealing the moon.
This episode, we are stealing the moon. That's going to be main goals. Because that was their main goal in the movie, I don't know. I didn't watch
segue.
No,
so today we are actually going to be discussing the 2002 film Signs, directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It's my favorite alien movie to exist. And I was very, very, very excited to show Kinson this movie. He had never seen it. I'd only shown him clips years ago.
Yeah. The only time we ever saw it the only thing I've ever seen from it is one time Mark was like, "Have you ever seen Signs?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what the fuck that is." And he goes, "Let's just watch all the parts where the things are in, the creatures are in." And we just watched that, and it was just repeated jump scares, scared the shit out of me every single time.
Really fun, interesting fact about this movie. It was executive produced by Kathleen Kennedy, who is now in charge of Star Wars.
Oh.
Isn't that kind of wild?
That is wild.
It's got a pretty impressive cast. We've got Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix, Rory Culkin, and Abigail Breslin, who have all gone on to do amazing things.
Wait, Rory Culkin?
Rory Culkin was Morgan.
Was that not... What's the Home Alone kid?
That's Macaulay Culkin. That's his brother.
They're different.
They are different. Yes, they're different.
Oh, that's hilarious. I had no idea. I leaned over to my girlfriend and I said, "That's the kid from Home Alone." And she said, "Oh my God."
Well, it's not.
And she goes, "Oh my God, it is." Wow, that was crazy. I shared a bonding moment over a lie. Wow.
We all do. Moving on.
We do lie on this podcast.
We do lie on this podcast, and that's what bonds us so close together. It's an American film. It was released in July 29th of 2002. And it takes place in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Kinson, you've seen some clips of this movie. I don't think I ever told you what the movie was actually about.
No, you didn't.
Okay, great. So going into this movie, what were you expecting?
So the only thing I knew was that, I think, I did know that it was like aliens, but I thought it was just like, I don't know. I really didn't know what to expect going in. All I could really figure out from those clips is that it was just an alien that was just like fucking with a dude on his farm. And that's it. And I thought it was literally just going to be about like one guy, Mel Gibson, and his farm. And like they keep doing crop circles to like fuck with him. And that's it. I didn't think it was going to be like a whole ordeal like it turns into.
One thing I really do like about this movie, and we'll get into this when we get further into the movie, is how realistic it feels. It feels, if there was an alien invasion, it would probably go, if not exactly like this, very similar to this movie.
Yeah. That is something that I actually kind of picked up on too, and I really liked, is that like, without jumping ahead, just generally how they behave in this invasion, it's like it really shows what just a normal family who's going through completely normal life things, how they would really react. Because like they just kind of are like chilling, like it's not like, you know, nothing happens and sends them on a crazy quest where they have to save the world. Like they're just some guys, and that's it. And I like that.
No, it was really realistic. So the movie opens with this really intense opening credits, and the score is it's done by James Newton Howard, who does phenomenal scores. Look him up. I will always say that about a good composer. I'll tell you to look them up, because if I say something about them, look them up. They've done amazing things.
That's right. Pay attention.
So after this huge, like, big, grand opening sequence, the movie opens with Graham being startled awake. And Graham is Mel Gibson's character, who was previously a reverend but has quit because he is losing his faith. I wanted to touch on that because that is a very important detail throughout this entire movie. So while brushing his teeth in the morning, you know, he hears distant screaming, and he checks and sees that his kids are not in their room. It then cuts to this barn outside where we see Uncle Merrill, who's played by Joaquin Phoenix. That's where he's kind of staying. He gets woken up by the screams too. Graham and Merrill meet outside, and they're like, "Do you hear that?" And they're like, "Yeah." So they run into the cornfield, and they find Bo. That's Abigail Breslin's character, who is, what, 6 in this movie? 6
I think
or
so,
7?
yeah. Young.
Very young. And that is Graham's daughter. Graham then continues on and finds Morgan, his son, and he's played by Rory Culkin. And he's looking out, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And Morgan's like, "The dogs were barking, they woke us up." And then he's like, "I think God did it." And then Graham is like, "Did what?" And then it pans out, and we see this huge crop circle was made in their backyard. Tell me, Kinsley, how did you feel about that?
That shit went crazy. I can't. You know how long it's been since anybody's said something about crop circles? I forgot crop circles existed, and then that movie panned out, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I remember how like crazy like that of a phenomenon that used to be, and like I used to watch videos about that.
Yeah,
and I forgot that it existed, and then this movie brought it back, and I was like, "Oh hell yeah! Okay, cool."
I haven't seen a news report on a crop circle in a very long time.
Years, bro. Got to be a decade.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Graham on the phone with the police, and, you know, he's kind of hoping that it's just Lionel and the Wolfington brothers. But we find out that the Wolfington brothers were at a movie last night.
Yes.
And while this phone call is happening, one of the dogs starts acting super strange outside. Meanwhile, Officer Caroline Paskey arrives. She was late because a woman was spitting all over the skateboard shop. I love her character. I truly do.
I do too. She's she just talks, bro. She just talks sometimes. Like that whole thing about like the skateboard shop and like everything could have been like a little like one-off line, and they talked for like 3 minutes about it. And I was like sitting there and I was like, wow, they're really trying to immerse me right now.
So we cut back outside. Morgan is outside with Bo, and Graham's got food on the grill. So, you know, Morgan's trying to keep an eye on that. And Bo has this water that she's drinking, and she says it's contaminated and tastes funny, which is going to be an important thing to remember later on in this movie. So they give the water to Houdini, who's the dog outside, and he begins to act super aggressive towards Bo, like growling and barking at her. And then it cuts to Officer Paskey and Graham, and they're out in the cornfield looking at how the stalks are bent and not broken. And they were like, no machine can do that. And then Graham, you know, he stops, he gets real quiet, and the officer's like, "Father, what's wrong?" And he goes, "Please stop calling me father." I don't hear
I
my
like
kids. Yeah.
I like that. I like that line for two reasons. Is I like the repeated usage that you'll see of "Stop calling me father" or "It's not reverend anymore," things like that. He keeps saying it, but then also it's so funny that like, because that's a really common thing. Like with like parents, is that if you don't hear your kids, they're up to some shit.
Yeah. No.
If
Yeah.
you can hear your kids just being fucking goofy and shit and playing, they're just being them. But the second things go silent around the house, you know they're getting into something. That you know they're trying to be sneaky or like doing something.
Yep. So that being said, they run out of the cornfield and they see that Morgan has killed Houdini for acting aggressive towards Bo. So Meryl takes Isabel, the other dog, and ties it to the shed. And then night falls. Bo wakes up Graham in the middle of the night by saying, "There's a monster outside my bedroom window. Can I have a glass of water?" Mm-hmm. So, you know, as you know, if a kid said that to me, I'd be like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So Graham, you know, grabs her glass of water, and they're sitting in bed, and Bo be asking these hard-hitting questions, dude.
Oh, crazy. She
says, "Why do you talk to Mom when you're by yourself?"
Oh.
Hinting that something obviously had happened to their mother.
Yeah.
We will find out more about that later in the movie as well.
Yes.
I also love that the movie did that, how you really couldn't piece everything together until the end.
No, yeah.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
it's such a good movie.
I only got clues during a scene that we'll talk about later, and I kind of got a little bit of it, but I was still a little wrong.
Yeah, so Bo asks that question, and Graham says it makes him feel better. And then Bo's like, "Well, does she answer you?" And he's like, "No." And Bo says, "She doesn't answer me either."
Oh.
It hurts. It hurts.
It does. That one stung a little bit.
And then, you know, Graham's gaze starts to wander. That's when we see that there's this big fucking creature outside the window on top of Meryl's fucking shed.
I'm gonna be real with you. When I was watching it, there was a slight glare on my TV, and it's in the top middle, exactly where that thing was. So it just made like the boom noise, but I didn't see anything, and I was like, what the fuck was that? So I went over and I turned off the light, and then I rewatched it, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that's what it was. I had to run it back.
So Meryl and Graham go outside and they chase who they think is the Wolfington brothers. And there's this really funny sequence where where Meryl's like, "Come on, be like, make noise or something." And Graham's like, "Do you want me to curse?" And like, obviously he doesn't curse because he was previously a reverend. Yeah. So, you know, while Meryl's running around, he's screaming, "I'm gonna beat your ass!" But while Graham's running around, he's going, "I'm losing my mind!"
Yeah, Meryl goes, just yell around, curse or something. And he goes, "I don't curse." And he goes, "Well, pretend." That's so funny. He goes,
"Yeah, make noise."
He goes, "I'm an insane person." Running around.
"I'm insane with anger."
Yeah, I'm insane with anger. That's what he says. Oh my god, that is so funny.
And then he goes, "It's time for ass whooping." Yeah. And as he says that, him and Meryl cross paths, and he goes, "I cursed." And then Meryl goes, "I heard."
So funny. I thought that was the oldest kid for the longest.
No.
In like during the movie, I thought that was like his oldest kid, and then until the kids started calling him uncle, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So as they meet, they've stormed the house. We hear something's like jumped on the roof, and then it somehow runs right past them into the corn. Scary stuff. We find out how, and how the creature was able to do that later on in the movie.
That thing's booking it too.
Fast as hell.
That thing,
so
I still don't understand. So was that the one on the roof, or was there one literally just chilling on the swing set and then ran away, or it just hit the swing set when it ran?
I could go either way because
I was under the interpretation that thing, they were all looking at the roof and that thing was just sitting on the swing watching them.
It could have been. It could have been. So Officer Paskey comes back to the house in the morning. She's explaining to Morgan how her walkie-talkie works, and that, if there are baby monitors in the house, you can use one as a one-way walkie-talkie. Because, Morgan's so fascinated with it. And while this is happening, Graham confronts Bo and is like, hey, what's up with all this water all around the house? She goes, that one has dust in it. That one's got hairs in it. And Morgan drank that one, so that's got his amoebas in it. And then, it cuts back to the kitchen, and we see Officer Paskey talking with Meryl, and we find out that Meryl had moved in with Graham after Graham's wife had passed. And then Graham, comes back into the kitchen, and they start, asking questions about what they saw last night. And all they can really tell Officer Paskey is it was too dark to see anything. And then whatever it was had to have been a tall man.
Yeah.
Because it
very dark.
Jumped on the roof. And then Officer Paskey was talking about these these Olympians,
the Scandinavian,
the Scandinavian women that can jump clear over her.
Yeah. And then Joaquin Phoenix Meryl hits with the most sarcastic ass line, and it's just like, well, assuming that there's no Scandinavian Olympic athletes outside the house, what else could it have been?
I know. I mean, that seems funny. Obviously, Officer Paskey isn't getting answers because they didn't see what it was. And then Bo comes in. I mean, it was dark. It was dark. And then Bo comes in.
It was dark.
And she's like, I can't find the remote. I tried to change the channel. But the same program is on every station. Mm-hmm. So they get up, and they check it out, and they find out that crop circles are showing up all over the globe. Mm-hmm. All over the place. And the person on the news says either this is one of the most elaborate hoaxes, or basically it's for real. Mm-hmm. And then after the news broadcaster says that, we see Morgan take out his inhaler, which is important. Mm-hmm. And he takes a little puff of it, and he says, extraterrestrials. I mean, then it cuts to outside with Officer Paskey and Graham, and she is just perplexed by everything going on. She's talking about how animals have been acting funny, the crop circles and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And what she recommends is taking the family into town just to get their mind off everything.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. Also, not in this movie, but in general, what do we know the purpose, or what is the perceived purpose of crop circles? I don't understand. Is it do you remember? I feel like I used to know, but I don't know. What are they? Why?
I don't think there's a confirmed purpose.
I mean, as far as I can tell, it's because, well, I'm not gonna say that because we'll talk about it later. But they're all I can imagine is there for marking certain zones or something, maybe identifying certain areas, on if you look at a map in a game, the mini map has just words printed over what each area is, it's that. So if you're hovering in a UFO, you can look around and be that's that area, that's that area, that's that area.
Yeah, I mean, if I was an alien,
best explanation.
That's the only way I could think about it.
Yeah, in a foreign planet.
Or it could be it literally in their language. It says, "Let's attack here."
Yeah, drop 17 troops here.
It could.
Yeah, it could. It could just be instructions. That's scary to think about. I don't like that. But
yeah, I don't like that at all. Moving on. So Morgan goes into this bookstore with Bo, and then he asks, if there's books on extraterrestrials. And then it cuts to Graham in the pharmacy trying to pick up the prescription for Morgan. And there's this woman at the counter named Tracy who's working. And she's like, listen, I'm so scared that people are talking like this is the end of the world. Can I get something off my conscience? Can I confess to you? And Graham's, he tells her, I'm not a reverend anymore. Mm-hmm. And Tracy's like, please, I want to clear my conscience. It then cuts to Meryl at an army recruitment center. Mm-hmm. And the recruiter's explaining to him how the aliens are probing the area and are quite possibly getting ready for an invasion.
Yeah. That is the goofiest representation of an army general I've ever seen.
It's so funny.
That dude is so over the top intense, and that man doesn't close his mouth once. when he's done talking, he goes like this. And he keeps his mouth open the whole time. It's ridiculous. It's
you remember
insane.
those army recruiters from school, right?
Yeah. So one of them always looked like that. The other ones were like okay, but like
yeah.
One of them.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, I could tell who that guy was based off of. I know that guy.
Yeah, it was based off the general from the commercials. That's what it looked like.
Go to the general to save some time.
Yeah, it looks exactly like that guy.
And then that's when we find out that Meryl played baseball for minor leagues, and he has 5 minor league records. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Yo, why didn't you go pro?" Turns out one of those records is the most strikeouts. Yes.
Rough.
So I mean, it's looking rough. He's got this home run record, which looks great, but he also has that record, which kind of evens it out. We then cut back to the bookstore. Bo gets a glass of water, and she tells the lady that it's contaminated because it's just that weird thing that she does. Mm-hmm. Morgan ends up buying this book on extraterrestrials. We cut back to the pharmacy. Tracy has been confessing and that she's been cursing, right? And she's like, "Is douchebag a curse word?" And then Graham's like, "It depends on the context, yeah." She's like, "What if I said, John, you're a douchebag for kissing Barbara?" And then Graham goes, "Yep, that's a curse." She goes, "It's not 37 curses, it's 71.
Dude, that is so funny.
All of them at the
That's
restaurant.
one of my favorite exchanges. Is that little one little right there? Because like he's like, you can tell that Graham just does not want to be there. Like he's so pissed because it never shows him saying yes. She just starts talking, and then that little like douchebag one is so funny.
I know, dude. I laughed out loud. And then the next scene actually made me laugh even harder. It's when they're at the restaurant. Graham walks in, and he goes, "I don't want any one of you spending time with Tracy Abernathy alone. You understand me?" We then finally see M. Night Shyamalan. He always makes cameos in his films. He always does. We finally see him as the character Ray. He's just kind of walking past the restaurant, getting into this car. And Morgan goes, "Is that him?"
That was M. Night Shyamalan?
That was M. Night Shyamalan, yeah. That really was.
I don't think I've ever seen him in my life.
That's him.
That's crazy.
Meryl goes, "Okay, yeah, that's him." And Bo's like, "Who is that?" And nobody answers. Mm-hmm. They then get home. Morgan's playing with his baby monitors, like Officer Patsky told him to do. And we start getting this really strange static sound from one of them. And then Meryl tries to calm everyone down, saying that these are probably just nerds trying to mess with, the world because they want attention. Right? And then we start hearing more noises from the walkie-talkie. And then Bo says, "Why can't they get girlfriends?" Which I thought was funny. And then more noises start coming from the walkie-talkie the higher Morgan puts it up. So Morgan jumps on top of the car and he holds up the walkie-talkie, and then we can hear these two creatures just communicating with each other. And they're not human. Mm-hmm. And on that note, I feel like this is a good spot to take our break.
This episode is pretty scary, but what's scarier is not having access to your favorite Paramount horror films like Friday the 13th, A Quiet Place, and Scream. With Paramount Plus, you have access to a mountain of entertainment, groundbreaking originals, iconic movies, hilarious reality shows, game-winning sports, and so much more. It's all here on Paramount Plus. Plans start as low as $4.99. If you bundle with Showtime, you can save up to 28%. This was a pretty intense episode, so if you need something lighthearted to distract your mind, Click the link in the description below to sign up for a free trial.
All right, and welcome back. We're going to pick up right after the car scene. So night falls, and we see that Isabel, the other dog, is kind of going frantic at the cornfield. And Graham, he's kind of in disbelief of everything going on, so he takes a flashlight and goes into the corn. We then hear the same, alien clicking that we heard on the radio all around him, and he drops his flashlight because it startles him. As he picks it up, he starts hitting the flashlight to make sure, he wants it to come back on. It comes back on, and we see this bluish gray, leg going back into the corn.
Ugh.
That scared the shit out of you.
That shit was gross, bro. I barely saw it, to be honest.
Yeah, you weren't supposed to see it. It wasn't supposed to be clear.
This movie has a very, very weird, all the shots are framed super weird, where something is either almost completely out of the picture or 100% dead center in the middle of the picture. When people are talking, in a conversation, it doesn't show, both of them barely ever or anything like that. It's just straight, steady cam, directly in front of them, talk, switch, directly in front of them. They have a weird way of framing people directly in the center, and then the aliens are never in the center of the picture.
You never get a good look at the alien in this movie, ever.
Yeah,
Which I like. I like it a lot. I like that a lot.
do. I like that because when something shows, the creature, within the first, 10 minutes, it just kind of loses the scare factor for me. I'm never scared of it again after I see the whole thing. I can't wait to see the whole thing, but it just doesn't scare me after I do.
Yeah.
So I was glad that they didn't do that.
So after seeing that alien leg, Graham runs inside and kind of just keeps to himself. And then they all gather around the TV, and that's when we find out, hella UFOs are showing out all over the world. Which is based on a true event. The lights over Phoenix is what it's based off of.
Oh, okay.
That really did happen.
When he walks back inside, he had previously banned all TVs and radio. And I thought that it was so cool. He had banned all the TVs and radios in the house because he didn't want to scare the kids and everything like that. So he walks back in after seeing the alien for the second time, or seeing this creature that he doesn't know what it is. And he just sits there, and everybody's kind of looking at him what is going on? Because he's obviously he's panting when he gets back in. He sits down at the table and he goes, let's turn on the TV.
Yeah.
And figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah. So, watching the news, the kids end up falling asleep. And, Meryl and Graham are just sitting there talking. And Meryl's like, do you think this could be the end of the world? And Graham says yes. And then this really cool moment that Graham has where he's like, are you the kind to see signs? Or a miracle? There are no coincidences. There's this really, really cool... And it comes back to play later in the movie. That scene does. So I'm going to just let that simmer there. And we'll come back to that later.
This is also where he tells him the last words, right?
Yes. We then get some insight on Kathleen's death, who is his wife. We find out the last thing she said to Graham was to see. And the last thing she said in general was tell Meryl to swing away. What Graham believed was that those were random memories just firing off in her head. Mm-hmm. We find out later it was something completely different. We then find out that there was a car accident, and that's how she died. We don't find out how. That's all we know. Graham then wakes up. He then sees that the TV has been moved and the cord leads all the way to the attic, or the closet. Mm-hmm. He opens it and he sees Meryl in there with the TV. And he says, he's trying to hide the TV from the kids so they don't get obsessed. He then points out this sequence that they showed on the news where a bird had flew into an invisible spaceship. And the bird just fell straight down. Mm-hmm. Which means the aliens have camouflage. Graham then decides to go upstairs. He goes upstairs to see Bo and Morgan with tinfoil hats on their heads. And they're like, it's so the aliens can't read our minds. And they're reading this book that they got from the bookstore. And it's talking about what an alien would do in an invasion and all this stuff. And then, Graham's like looking at all the pictures and stuff, and then we see this really eerie picture of a very similar looking farmhouse with 3 dead bodies outside.
Yeah.
And then the phone rings. Super loud. But basically the book would say is aliens are here for one of 2 reasons. They're friendly and want to make contact with us. Or they're here to be hostile and to harvest our planet. And that's when the phone rings. And all we hear is someone saying, Father, and they just hang up. Graham realizes that the voice was Ray. So Graham goes to the closet, grabs his coat, and starts heading out. And we find out that Meryl is still in the closet watching the TV.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he's, how he said he didn't want the kids to get obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And now
he's totally in it. He's totally in it. You can see that in his eyes. Joaquin Phoenix has a really, really good, obsessive look as an actor, and he puts it on well in this movie. Like when he's in the closet, I thought he was a goner for the rest of the movie. I thought he was just going to be way too invested, and he wasn't going to help at all.
Boy, were you rolling.
Yeah.
So yeah, Graham ends up going to Ray's, and he starts knocking on the door, and no one's answering. He looks inside the window, and he sees just shit is thrown around everywhere. Mm-hmm. Something clearly happened there. He then realizes Graham is in his truck, so he walks up to him, and Ray kind of explains he didn't know who else to call. That he had Graham's number by his phone for a very long time, and that now felt like the right time to give him a call. We then see that Ray has blood on his jacket. Obviously something happened. Mm-hmm. Ray then explains how if he fell asleep at a different time while he was behind the wheel, his wife would still be alive. So we find out that Ray fell asleep at the wheel and had struck his wife as she was going for a walk. And he's like, if I had fallen asleep at a different time, she'd be alive. And Ray's like, I think things happen for a reason. There was a reason I fell asleep right then and there. And then Ray says, I'm going to the lake. There's a rumor that these things don't like water. I don't feel like I'm going to be safe there. He then profusely apologizes for what he's done to Graham. And before he leaves, he says, don't open the pantry. I locked one of them in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts back to Meryl in the closet, where he's watching the news, and they just got this video, probably the first video of said alien, in its physical form, or actually showing itself. It's at a kid's birthday party, and I think it was they're speaking Spanish, so it's.
Mm-hmm. I think it was Mexico City where all the things appeared. Because they said I think
this video was in Brazil. I think this was Brazil.
Oh, was it?
Yes, where the kids are having the birthday party.
I assume it was New Mexico.
That's where the lights showed up. But this is in Brazil.
Okay.
And basically what we see is all these people panicking, and they're running through this house, and they all go to this one window, and one of the kids says, it's behind, in English. And we see this 7-8 foot tall alien just walk out from behind the edge.
Yeah.
Big dude. Scary looking alien.
Mm-hmm.
And Meryl is he's just in disbelief over what he just saw.
Yeah, but it's gripping the TV.
That's one of the scariest scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
That one?
That's actually crazy. That thing looks scary. It kind of reminded me of the aliens from District 9.
Yeah. No, I can see it. I also like how the video was pretty reminiscent of the Bigfoot video. You know what I'm saying?
How he's sideways look. Yeah, the sideways walk.
I was a big fan of that choice.
It was like that, yeah. So
after that really intense scene, we get another intense scene where Graham is in Ray's house, and he's trying to see this thing inside the pantry. He hears it, but he can't see it. So he takes this knife and he like puts it underneath like the bottom of the door, just trying to see if he can get like a reflection of the thing. And it appears like there's nothing in there. So Graham he walks away because he feels like he's losing his mind. He then goes back with the knife, and as he goes back, whatever that creature is reaches out from underneath the door, and Graham slices its fingers off with that knife. Mm-hmm. 2 fingers.
2 of them.
2 fingers. And you hear the creature scream, and you hear Graham scream. And it's super eerie.
Yeah.
We then see Graham come home. He opens the door, and then he sees everyone is wearing the tinfoil hats, including Meryl. And then Meryl explains to Graham how the aliens can camouflage, and that's how they didn't see the aliens that night.
Mm-hmm. And why he didn't see it in the reflection.
Yep, exactly. And then Graham explains to them how he heard the lake theory, and they all start taking votes. Bo and Graham vote for staying at home, while Meryl and Morgan vote for staying or going to the lake house. But, since it's a tie, Graham says his votes counts as 2 because he represents 2 parents. Mm-hmm. And Morgan doesn't like that. He gets super pissed about it.
Yeah.
And then Bo changes her vote to stay at home. So they end up staying at home, and they start boarding up the house. And on the news, we see that more UFOs are arriving. Mm-hmm. And we find out they're hostile through the news. And Morgan does not like the way that Graham is behaving. So in the closet, when he's with Meryl, he says, "I wish you were my dad." So obviously there's a ton of tension between Morgan and Graham right now. And Meryl's like, "Don't ever say that again. Ever." So they continue to board up the house. And as they do, they're trying to decide what to do for dinner. So each person gets to pick their favorite meal, and Graham's gonna make it. What did Bo had spaghetti. Bo had spaghetti. Morgan had French toast. Meryl had like teriyaki chicken, right?
Teriyaki chicken.
Then Graham wanted a bacon cheeseburger.
Yep, and Bo had spaghetti.
Extra bacon.
Yeah.
Which I loved. I loved that this was almost like they kind of knew it could have been their final meal.
It's probably representative of the Last Supper.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that. And out there at the dinner table, no one's eating. Everyone is far too upset. And then Morgan's like, "Can we say a prayer or something?" And Graham is not about it. He says no. And then Morgan says, "I hate you," to his dad. And then Graham goes, "I'm not wasting one more minute of my life on prayer." He tries to get them to eat. They're not eating. Bo starts crying. He starts screaming at Bo. Graham then decides, you know what? If you're not going to eat, I'm going to eat everything. So he starts taking everyone's food and starts fucking eating it as he's going through this fit of just rage. And
yeah, my man's having a breakdown.
He starts just bawling. So everyone ends up crying, and they all end up hugging Graham. And it's a really, really sweet scene. And it is. As soon as they all start to hug, they hear the baby monitor start going off, and the aliens have arrived. They go to check the TV, and they see that the news broadcasts have been completely cut out. Like, nothing's being aired, nothing on the radio is being aired, everything's done. Everyone's preparing for the fight. They then finish up boarding up the house. Graham then tells Bo, how she was born, and how that babies aren't supposed to smile, but she smiled right at Graham. Mm-hmm. We then hear Isabel, the dog, die outside.
Yeah.
And then after we hear that, we hear, I don't even know how many footsteps we hear. Hella aliens show out.
Oh, yeah. No, they're here. They have numbers, bro.
They have numbers. You can see their shadows as they cross, the windows. You can hear their footsteps somewhere on the roof, somewhere on the other side of the house. They're all trying to find a way to get in. And these aliens aren't very good at opening doors. We found out because, that alien could have opened up the pantry.
Yeah.
That it was in. So, as the aliens are trying to get in, Graham then tells Morgan how he was born, and how that his mom was the first person to hold him. And they stared at each other, and she goes, "Hello, Morgan. I'm your mama. You looked just as I dreamed." The aliens then find out that they forgot to board the attic door, and they find a way in. And, you know, when the family realizes that, they end up running down to their basement, and they lock themselves in the basement. The alien begins to, you know, try to turn the doorknob, and as he's doing that, Graham is, you know, pushing on that door. And he's like, Meryl, I need something. Grab me something. So Meryl grabs his pickaxe, and as he grabs the pickaxe, he accidentally takes out the one light bulb that's in the basement. So it's pitch black down there. They've got this pickaxe up against the door, and Morgan finds a flashlight and turns it on. They also find the radio down there. They try to turn the radio on, and there's still nothing. Nothing's being broadcasted. They then realize that the aliens are only trying to make noise and distract them. And then Graham remembers that there is a coal chute in the basement, and that these aliens are very good problem solvers, and they're going to find a way in. So they start looking for the coal chute in the basement, and they end up finding that Morgan's standing right next to it. And then we see this camouflaged hand come out and grab Morgan. It doesn't get him. It just kind of probably startles the shit out of him. I mean, it would startle me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Morgan starts having this asthma attack, and they do not have his inhaler. And Bo sees that Morgan's struggling, and she says, I dreamed this. And she had kept referring to her dream that she kept having throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And this is what she dreamed of. So,
well, it was confusing to me the very, very first time that she said, like, oh, I had a dream, and then she was like, you won't, she was talking to Morgan, and they were outside playing, and she goes, you won't let anything happen to me, right? And he goes, no, I'll never let that happen, or something like that. And then she goes, good, I don't want you to die.
Yeah.
And then he was even confused. He was like, what do you mean I'm gonna die? And it never gets explained. And then this happens, and then she's like, yeah, this was the dream. You're like, I dreamt this would happen. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
So Graham's holding Morgan as he's having this severe asthma attack, and he's pleading with God. He's like, don't do this to me again. Not again. And he tells God that he hates him. Meryl then says we should turn off the flashlights. You know, we should save the battery. So they do. And as the lights go out, we get the flashback to, you know, Kathleen. We find out that she's been pinned by the truck that Ray was driving, and it severed her lower half, and the truck being where it is the only reason that she's still alive right now. And then Graham wakes up. The radio's working. We find out that the aliens had come to harvest, you know, human beings instead of the planet, and they announce that the aliens are leaving. And they announce that the aliens have this poison gas that they've been killing people with. And that they found out their weakness. And that the aliens also left their wounded behind.
Yeah.
So, it's like, I don't know, probably like 7, 8 a.m. in the morning by the time they get upstairs. Meryl walks around the house to make sure the coast is clear. Everything seems to be fine. Morgan still needs his inhaler, because he's still having that asthma attack. They all go upstairs. They hear the news on the TV. Bo goes in there and talks about how people are dancing on the TV and celebrating because the aliens are gone. Meryl goes to get an EpiPen ready. Morgan is placed on the couch. Graham asks Morgan if he would like to see the TV. And Morgan says yes. So, you know, Graham goes to go grab the TV. And on his way back, we see in the reflection that this huge alien has Morgan in his arms.
That shit was crazy. The framing of that alien and the way that Morgan's body was just kind of like draped over like that, and the way that he was just like holding him and like just looking around the room, like literally like, what now, bitch? Was crazy.
Did it scare you? Like, did it scare the shit out of you?
That really caught me off guard. It didn't scare me. I was just like it was just like it excited me. I was like, oh shit, okay, stuff's about to go down, bro.
So this alien is just holding Morgan. And then it zooms in, and we see that this is the same alien from the pantry. It's missing the 2 fingers. And then it cuts back to the flashback with Kathleen. And they're about to have their last conversation because she's about to die. She tells Graham to tell Morgan to play with Bo. It's okay to be silly. She wants Graham to tell Bo to listen to her brother. She tells Graham to see, and then she tells Meryl to swing away. We then cut back halfway through the movie to the conversation Meryl and Graham were having about how there are no coincidences, and do you believe in signs? Do you believe in miracles? And then it cuts back to Meryl, and we see his baseball bat on the wall. Graham looks around, and he's like, Meryl, swing away. So Meryl grabs the bat off the shelf, and he beats that alien's ass, bro. He beats that alien's ass.
It does.
That's one of those moments you want to get up and cheer, bro. It's one of those moments you...
Is that thing right before that though?
No, that's about to happen.
Oh, okay.
So, actually, I guess I did jump the gun on that. So before Meryl swings, the alien, his little, like, thing comes out of its wrist.
Needle that comes out of his wrist.
Yeah, he injects this poison into Morgan's nose. And then Meryl starts to swing. The alien drops Morgan, and they have this big showdown in their family room. We then see Meryl hit the alien, and it falls towards like this sand where there's water, and this water falls on top of the alien's shoulder, and we see that the water like destroys their skin. So these aliens are like allergic to this water or something. So yeah, Ray was right. The water is the alien's weakness. So, as this whole showdown is happening, Graham, Bo, and Morgan all run outside. Bo watches as Meryl fights this alien, and Meryl does this really, really clever thing to where he swings the bat at a ton of glasses that are like on the table below him, and all this water sprays on the alien, causing the alien, it's causing the alien pain. He then hits the alien once more, and the alien falls into like the TV counter, where this huge glass of water falls on top of the alien's head, killing it. So outside, meanwhile, Graham has injected the epinephrine into Morgan in hopes that it will, save him. He's holding Morgan, and he's like, you know what? That's why he had asthma. No poison got in his lungs. His lungs were closed. That's why he had asthma. He's like realizing the reason he had asthma was so the alien wouldn't kill, like that poison would not kill him. And the reason that Bo left all these glasses around was so they could fight the alien. So Morgan wakes up. He wakes up and he's like, did someone save me? And Graham says, I think someone did. It's so powerful. So powerful. We then get this time jump to, it's gotta be months later because it's snowing outside.
It's at least a season.
Yeah. Graham has picked...
Actually, it's... Yeah, probably 3 months because all the crops are there and they would have been harvested in the next, month. And then winter would have came, 2 months after that.
Yep.
So, probably 3, 4.
So, we hear the kids playing in this house. We then see that Graham has picked back up being a reverend and he's in his uniform. He walks out of the bathroom and the movie ends. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. I had watched it last night with my girlfriend, and after the movie had ended, she was bawling her eyes out.
Really?
Yeah, it got her good.
I guess.
I mean, I get teary-eyed during the end scene, always, where he's holding Morgan and he comes back. And he's like, did someone save me? Yeah, it's just like, damn.
Oh, yeah, it's really good.
So throughout this whole movie, Graham is struggling with his faith, and at the end, he's found his faith again, and it's this really, really beautiful, beautiful ending to a rather beautiful horror movie.
Yeah, I'd say.
So yeah, let me hear this is your first time watching it all the way through. I want to hear your review.
No, I mean, I actually really, really love this movie. Like we talked about at the top of the episode, I didn't know what to expect out of this movie at all, and like we said in our little pre-recording meeting, it's one of those movies where exactly like The Exorcist in our first episode, where I had never watched it. I just knew that it existed. I knew it was a huge movie. Never got around to watching it, and then when I finally did, I was like, damn, this is really good. I definitely should have watched this 10 years ago when everybody was talking about it. The first time I talked about it, or the first time I heard about it. But no, I actually really like this movie. I think this is my favorite movie that we've watched so far, by far. And I've mostly liked all the other movies too, but yeah, I love this one. This one is a solid 9 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's 9.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
I actually
Fantastic movie.
Oh, it's so good. When, growing up, this was a movie that my family would always watch. In fact, my little sister, Kelly, had a Signs-themed birthday party when we were kids. I feel like I had to mention that for the podcast.
That's so funny. I did not know that.
Like a lot of the movies I pick on here, I did grow up with this one as well, as I did The Exorcist, Jaws, and not Hellraiser.
Yeah, not Hellraiser. Hellraiser was everybody's first.
I almost said Halloween, but then I realized we did not do a Halloween episode. That was just our audition.
That was our audition to get the podcast.
But yes, it is a beautiful horror movie. Truth be told, it's one of the only horror movies that has made me cry.
Yep.
It is really, really a heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching film.
It is.
And there are different theories about this film. That there's theories that state that the aliens are actually demons and that the water in the house is holy water. And
interesting.
There's a lot of parallels to this movie and Christianity.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I can see that. Mm-hmm. It's like a Narnia type thing.
Exactly.
Where the entire the entire movie of Narnia, at least the first one, is literally the story of the Bible. And then they just pick little stories for the next ones. The one about Prince Caspian or whatever is about the one where he had to kill his son. That story. Or he meant to kill his son and then he ran away. It's the same kind of thing. As far as parallels go.
Yes, this is my favorite Alien movie. It's my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, and he's got some bangers.
He does have some bangers.
He does. This is just... I would compare M. Night Shyamalan's early work to the current work of Jordan Peele.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like they're very similar in that sense to where their early work is all bangers. Mm-hmm. I really hope that Jordan Peele doesn't go down the same path that M. Night Shyamalan went down. Sorry, M. Night Shyamalan. Do better. I don't know.
Do better. Yeah. I mean, nothing else to say.
Yeah, nothing else to say. I've got fun facts, but before I do the fun facts, I would like to get into Kinson's 1-star reviews, so let's hop right into those.
All right, I got a few of them here. So, first one is this one. 1 star. One of the worst cases of stupid character syndrome I've ever seen. Aliens that are killed by water come to Earth naked? If you want to say every misfortune from the smallest irritation to the greatest unimaginable tragedy is ultimately a necessary part of God's plan for your benefit, then just say it. Don't waste my time with this stupid movie.
I don't agree with that at all. I feel like the decisions in this movie were actually rather smart.
I don't either. It's just so funny. But the part that got me is just the aliens that are killed by water come to Earth naked. That's so funny. And then you know what my second favorite part about this review is that one person found this helpful. There's one thumbs up on it.
I like that.
Let's see. So this one, I think that they misplaced their star. Because it says, horrifying, especially after watching it. It'll probably keep me up 2 or 3 hours after I was supposed to be in bed. And then they've said 1 star. I feel like they just didn't hit the right star amount.
Or they really just scared them that bad.
Yeah, it scared them so bad that they didn't like it. That they were actually pissed. Expected it to be much better. Big stars, low budget. I feel cheated out of time. I feel cheated out of the time that I spent watching it. Don't waste a second of your life on this movie. This movie is a lot better than the original, or better and more original than the garbage he usually puts out. I'm sure that's about Shyamalan.
Is this a recent review?
That one is a year ago.
Okay, because I remember back in the early 2000s, M. Night Shyamalan was putting out crazy good movies.
Oh yeah.
Like The Sixth Sense, we had Unbreakable, we had Signs, The Village. He was popping off.
Yeah. Let's see. 1 star. It's bad. You should watch it. So yeah. 2 years ago.
That sounds like a 14-year-old.
2 people found that one helpful. And then this one, this one is my last one and my favorite one. It says, "By God, this is dumb. The aliens be getting stopped by doors and water, bro." Is the review, and 5 people liked that one.
Clearly, that person's never played Minecraft.
That's so
You know how hard it is to get in through a door in
You know
Minecraft?
what is crazy about you saying that? Their profile picture is a Minecraft block.
No. They don't have the right to say that, bro.
It's like a block out of the Ender, bro.
I don't like that. I don't like how
That's
coincidental that was. Do you believe in signs? Do you believe in miracles? Because that was just one.
That was one of them, yeah.
There's no coincidences. He's coming for us.
True.
You got any more?
Nope, that is my last one.
All right, time for the fun facts, and these are super, super interesting facts. The illustrations in the book that Morgan had were actually done by M. Night Shyamalan himself.
Oh.
Isn't that awesome?
That is cool, yeah.
You're going to like this one a lot. Mark Ruffalo was supposed to play Meryl, but backed down from the role because he had a brain tumor.
Mark Ruffalo?
Mark Ruffalo. Ended up being
I thought you were
benign.
gonna say-
He's good. He's safe. He's awesome. But Joaquin Phoenix stepped into the role, and I'm kind of happy he did because Joaquin Phoenix's performance in that movie was stellar.
It was very, very good. I thought you were going to say that he was too busy like filming one of those like rom-coms that he used to make. Like, remember when Mark Ruffalo was like the rom-com king
Yes,
for like a decade?
I do remember. So the crop circles were real. They were not CGI. That was a practical crop circle.
Interesting.
Yes. And
Wow,
my
they really
last-
covered their tracks by in the actual movie saying this can't be done by hand. It's too perfect. Interesting.
I know, good for them. And this is my last and very heartfelt fact.
Okay.
The story of Bo and Morgan's birth are actually based off of M. Night Shyamalan's real-life children.
Oh,
Yes,
that's cute.
I like that a lot.
That is nice. That's really cute.
Yeah,
Good moment.
nice little heartfelt moment. It's a heartfelt movie. There's a ton of heart in this movie.
There is. I agree. It really balances, or like it counteracts all like the crazy shit in it.
Yeah, it truly does. It truly does. It's definitely the best Alien movie in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And I've seen Jordan Peele's Nope. Don't come for me and say that's the best because it's definitely not. That shit was not that good.
Oh god. Oh god. All right. Well, there goes 30% of our viewership.
It wasn't. It was.
I haven't seen it. I can't speak on it.
A lot of people are saying what I'm saying. I'm gonna just tell you that right now.
I've only heard dramatic reviews either way. Either really, really good or really, really bad.
It is not good. I feel like Steven Yeun was not utilized enough in the movie.
Oh yeah, he is in that, huh?
He is. And there's always going to be that Jordan Peele like feel to it, which I love, and I love Jordan Peele. I truly loved Get Out. I loved Us, but this was lackluster to me, and I expected something different from Jordan Peele.
Do you think it was that way because of Us and Get Out?
Oh, yes.
Or do you think it was just a normal? If that would have been his first movie,
I'm glad it wasn't.
would your review changed, or was it only lacking because of his previous work?
I'm gonna say a mixture. I'm gonna say a mixture.
Okay.
Because if that was his first released movie, I feel like it would have definitely been more well received by me. However, since I know I know Get Out, I know Us, I know his he likes to he likes his twists. He likes his twists, just like M. Night Shyamalan. But the twist in this movie was not good.
Oh,
It took me out of the movie so fast. I was like, okay. And, I sat there and watched this entire movie in hopes. I mean, it starts really strong. It really does. It's got a really strong first and second act, but the third act is so lackluster.
I'll tell you what, though. I can't. You're gonna have to confirm or deny this, but that dude who was in it and also the main character of Get Out, the one that Jordan Peele loves to cast.
Yeah.
That dude acts the hell out of those movies.
The actors in the movie are dumb talented.
That dude's
it's not anything against the actors. It really isn't. And it's not even that. Like, Jordan Peele did a really good job for the first 2 acts, but the third act was just not what I wanted.
Just kind of lost it.
Lost it, yeah.
That's a shame.
I see what he was trying to do, and I can respect that. I just did not enjoy it. But you know what? Let's save that for an episode of Nope.
True.
If we do one.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind a Get Out episode. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
We should do a Jordan Peele marathon next season.
That wouldn't be bad.
I think I'd get down with that. Because I like his movies, for the most part.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think we covered a lot of signs, so I feel like this is a great place to leave off since we're an hour into this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this is a long one, man. This one's going to be even longer after the intros and everything like that. So,
well, it's a movie where each scene is that important. I knew that this was going to be a long one. So, if you made it this far, thank you for listening.
Yeah, appreciate you. You guys treated us well. You put us at the top of the charts, and you know what you get? You get extra minutes on the episode, man.
Yeah, you get an extra 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, because why
right,
not?
'cause we care about you.
Because we
care about you.
Yeah.
We reward you.
This is a reward.
Yeah. Fans are good to us. We're good to the fans. You feel me?
Jesus. No, but seriously, guys, thank you so much for all the support. I had no idea this many people would be even interested in, us 3 talking about all this spooky, stupid shit that we love. But if you want to keep on supporting us, please check out our affiliate links, give us a review, and you can even donate to us directly by subscribing for a certain dollar amount each month. That covers just about everything, guys. Thank you again. I can't stress it enough. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
And this is where me and Kinson will both sign off. Kinson, say bye.
All right. See you guys.
And I'm here to remind you guys to creep it 100.